When do you think the United States ratified equal rights for women?
Was it 1970s?
42, 44.
44?
Early 70s?
I believe somewhere in the 1920s.
Do you think women are equal in the United States?
No, it's not.
I do, yes. I know a lot of women who feel equal.
No.
No, it's not equal. It's not close.
What amendment states that equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex?
I believe that's the 4th Amendment.
16th Amendment.
Let's say that's the 25th Amendment.
What if I told you that we never passed that amendment I read?
Really?
No, it can't.
I'm not surprised.
Do you think we should have that in the Constitution?
I don't think it's required.
I think it's very important.
I think you guys are going to gain something. I think you're going to lose something. I think it's like a devil's dagger.
So basically there's no hope, it's a lose-lose situation, and we're all going to become handmaids eventually.
Basically.
So all of this talk about ratifying equal rights pretty much narrows down to one thing: the Equal Rights Amendment. It's an amendment to the Constitution that was first introduced in 1923 by Alice Paul, shortly after women got the right to vote. It called for women's equality, stating that equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. It failed at the time, but was introduced again and then kept getting introduced into Congress. Now it's been introduced in every single congressional session since 1982. I mean, that's crazy. The ERA is like your really needy ex-boyfriend, Steve, who texts you every 6 months just to see how your mom is doing. We know that's not what it's about, Steve. And maybe the ERA, like Steve, should just accept its failure and move on. I mean, women are already equal according to that guy. So maybe this is just a bunch of ladies who've watched a little too much Handmaid's Tale and have nothing better to do. To set this straight, I decided to talk to some professionals to see why the ERA is so important. So women are already equal.
Well, that's a complex question. Are women equal in the eyes of the law? No. Are women equal inherently? Yes. Our research would show that most people think that we're already guaranteed equal rights, actually 80% of people, when they're made aware that we're not, and asked if they would support an amendment to guarantee those rights, actually 94% of people say they would. So despite all of the discord that we have in America right now, people of every demographic appear that they would support this. The problem is that people don't know that we're not guaranteed these rights, and most people under 35 at least have never heard of the Equal Rights Amendment.
What are some examples of how women aren't equal?
Well, there's the legal things like pay and the level of legal scrutiny when they go into courts with a gender discrimination case.
Workplace discrimination, pregnancy discrimination in the workplace, domestic abuse and violence, where women just don't have the same legal recourse.
I couldn't help but notice that we were all white women. Is this like the early feminism of 1923, an amendment that only works for white women while ignoring women of color? I wanted to find someone who'd be able to answer this, so I got in touch with Carol Jenkins, an Emmy-winning journalist and a founding president of the Women's Media Center.
You know, of course I'm a woman of color, so I know many women of color who feel that the ERA has nothing to do with them. But I come from a feminist family, and one of the reasons that I am there, and I take my granddaughter with me lobbying on Capitol Hill for the bills that are before Congress, is that women of color need it more desperately than anyone else, quite frankly, to make sure that those numbers in pay differences and in access to education and employment, women are still discriminated against because of the color of their skin. So, I would say that this ERA, what we're fighting for now, includes everyone. It includes people of different faiths and disability, of sexual orientations. That we're working for the inclusion of everyone in America.
So it turns out that women aren't totally free under US law, and that women of color are affected by this the most. In fact, there's a ton of bills introduced every year that attempt to limit the freedom that women have over their bodies. In 2017, the House passed the American Health Care Act, which ended Medicaid funding for Planned Parenthood. In 2011, there were 92 provisions across 24 states that aimed to restrict abortion access. In July of 2016, the House Appropriations Committee passed a bill that eliminated funding for family planning services, which included things like breast exams, birth control, and Pap tests. I could go on. The government continuously introduces and passes legislation that attempts to limit women's bodily autonomy. But why can't they pass the ERA? This was a question for a lawmaker, so I decided to reach out to Ted Lieu, a California congressman who supports the ERA and who also has really good tweets.
I represent the 33rd Congressional District in Southern California. I'm a huge supporter of the Equal Rights Amendment. I'm very honored to write an op-ed with Patricia Arquette on the Equal Rights Amendment. I do everything I can to make sure that we have equal pay for equal work.
Most people I've talked to agree that women are equal or women should be equal, and in your op-ed you said that Americans overwhelmingly support ratification of the ERA, and not many people even realize that the ERA hasn't been ratified. If there's so much support for it, why can't it pass in Congress?
That's a great question. My first thought is that they're not rational, but there are some people who will not vote for it because they think it's going to result in too many lawsuits. So that's sort of the complaint that I hear from folks who don't want to vote for it. So my response to that is that it's a fear of too much justice. If there are pay gaps and people are suing to correct that problem, then to me that is something we want to encourage. $500 billion a year is how much economists estimate that women lose in the economy because of this disparity in the wage gap.
So would you say that women's rights, women's issues are economic issues?
Absolutely, and it is harming women economically. It is flat out unfair, and it's time that Congress passes the ERA.
Why is gender equality a partisan issue?
So what happens is the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, has not agreed to put it up for a vote. And basically the party controlling the House of Representatives gets to control their agenda, and this is simply not on their agenda of the current party controlling the House.
After speaking with Ted Lieu, I wanted to talk to somebody who opposed the ERA. I contacted Congressman Duncan Hunter, Nevada State Senator Becky Harris, Nevada Assemblywoman Robin Titus, and Maine State Senator Lisa Keem. None of them agreed to speak with me, but I did get in touch with Arlene Cole. She's the president of Eagle Forum's California branch. It's an organization founded by Phyllis Schlafly, arguably the most infamous opposer of the ERA in its history. For Arlene, it seemed like the biggest issues with the ERA were abortion rights it would grant, and that she herself already felt equal, and that women didn't need more rights. I looked more into Schlafly's work, and I found a 2007 op-ed she wrote for the LA Times. It stated that, while claiming to benefit women, the ERA would actually have taken away some of women's rights. The amendment would require women to be drafted into military combat, abolish the presumption that the husband should support his wife, and take away Social Security benefits for wives and widows. It would also give federal courts and the federal government enormous new powers to reinterpret every law that makes a distinction based on gender, such as those related to marriage, divorce, and alimony. How would a supporter of the ERA respond to this criticism that it might actually hurt women and families? I decided to call back Carol Jenkins to find out.
You know, Phyllis Schlafly had a great deal of success whipping up this anti-woman spirit when she herself led a very independent, free, accessful life. I think a lot of the arguments are moot now. Women feel that they can participate in the military, and they do. I think to put any kind of limit on the capability of women is to make every girl in America feel less than, diminished. I think that as women and as men, we need to feel we can support ourselves. We don't have to rely on our husband's salaries. You know, if given the opportunity to get an education and to participate fully.
So what can the average person do who just learned about this and, wants to ratify equal rights?
So in addition to calling their members of Congress as well as U.S. senators, they can write letters to the editor. They can do social media, that's free. They can try to write an op-ed for newspapers. Just get their voices heard and to amplify their voices, and then to join different organizations that support the Equal Rights Amendment.
It's just really an awareness issue, and women can't do this alone. This is a fight for everyone.
This is not just a woman issue, this is an American issue.
If passing the ERA is something that seems important to you, get in touch with your legislators and urge them to prioritize this bill. Tweet, Instagram, whatever, and help spread awareness that women are still not granted equal rights under U.S. law. And if you don't support ratifying the ERA, thank you for watching this long. I mean, sincerely, I'm impressed that you stayed and watched this long. I mean, there's so many other things you could watch and so many other things that are in line with your own opinion. So it's cool that you watched this whole thing and, maybe it didn't change your mind, and that's fine. I mean, you do you. Can we get that light back on? Can we get, Ted?